my god, the whole timeline's in flux.
This is where it happened, where Dad was struck by lightning.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Flashverse here, and welcome back to another video on The Flash Season 8. And for today's video, I have a theory video going over a couple of theories regarding the back half of the season. So it will be one of those theory roundup videos where I have a couple of theories regarding a couple of episodes this season. For the case of this video, it's going to be two main episodes. Well, two main storylines, not really two main episodes, but it's two main theories. And I will pretty much just break them down. I will make this video entirely Speedster related, because if I was to do a theory video on literally every single tidbit we know about the back half of the season, we would be here for hours. Obviously, if you guys want me to do that, then sure, I could do that, but the video would be very long. I'd just be warning you guys. But what is so exciting is that we are finally here. The Flash returns with episode 6 of season 8, aka the mid-season premiere, in just 2 days from the time I'm recording this video. Very exciting stuff to look forward to, especially with the return of Bart, Nora, and Jay Garrick. A bunch of Armageddon timeline changes, obviously Eddie Thawne returning as well. And yeah, I am really interested to see what will be going down this episode. But before I go over the theories, however, you guys don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, so from what I'm going at, from what we've seen so far in regards to episode 6, I think episode 6 will pretty much just kick off where we left off from the Flash season 7 finale, and then we'd have like Bart and Nora saying goodbye to Barry, Iris, and pretty much the rest of the family in present day. And then we will have Bart and Nora eventually going back to their timeline, because that's obviously where they're from. And then because of the timeline changes that's occurred as a result to Armageddon, Bart and Nora from the Flash Museum notice that the whole timeline is in flux. And we pretty much see them time travel to 2014, because that's probably where they need to fix the most. And that is obviously the year where Barry is obviously in a coma as well. So from the trailer, for example, we do have the news that Joe gets shot during like a jewelry heist or something like that. I'm just picking that because that's one of the ones we've seen in the trailer. And possibly this was not supposed to happen originally. So Bart and Nora will have to attempt to stop Joe from getting shot. But as a result to them saving Joe, maybe what happens is that because of them saving Joe, they're technically altering the timeline, because whatever is happening over here with the jewelry heist, it's a cause to Armageddon. And with Bart and Nora fixing that, it pretty much ends up making the timeline worse. That could obviously be a possibility in regards to what is going on. Or they could just perhaps just end up fixing it and they just move on to whatever else is different. It could be that they're trying to restore the changes of Armageddon and they're trying to bring the timeline back to normal. Maybe that's something that is going on as well. Or it could be something different. Maybe it's related to the Godspeed storyline, where maybe because of the Godspeed storyline pretty much changing, because it now took place in present day over the future, maybe it's because of that the whole timeline changed as well. Or maybe it's just something Bart and Nora did, which we will see during this episode as well. I'm not entirely sure, but I guess we will have to wait and see. We do see how Bart and Nora cause further timeline changes, because we have Bart and Nora pretty much interacting with characters such as Eddie Thawne, in which they're not supposed to do that. I'm guessing Eddie will pretty much just catch them, and that could obviously cause a timeline change as well, because they're obviously interacting with one another when they're not supposed to. So maybe Bart and Nora are trying to execute this time travel mission to restore the timeline safely and undetected. But Eddie will eventually go up to them, maybe when they're in a crime scene or something, or maybe they're trying to acquire something from CCPD, so they have to sneak in, and Eddie will just catch them, and then that interaction alone, as I said, could end up causing a couple of timeline changes as well. They could also end up interacting with a younger version of Iris, maybe when they're in jitters or something. That would be pretty cool to see, but we do obviously know that that's going to cause some timeline changes. So I don't see how all of this does not cause more repercussions to the timeline than there already is. We do know that the whole timeline has pretty much been changed once again as a cause to Armageddon and Reverse Flashpoint and various other things like that. So this is just pretty much going to be adding onto whatever is just changed. So this does get me thinking, will Bart and Nora pretty much just screw up the timeline completely and just make it even worse? And that's going to be like a whole season storyline, maybe related to like the back half of the season, because we do know that Ronnie Raymond is coming back. We do know that a different version of Eddie Thawne is coming back as well. So maybe that is because of what Bart and Nora did over here. So maybe this interlude episode is tied to the next graphic novel. That is obviously possible, but maybe that could be a stretch as well. Now, obviously, metahumans are not meant to be around at this point because this is during the time Barry is in a coma. This isn't to say that metas did not exist then, because they did, but what I'm getting at over here is that metahumans were pretty much unheard of when Barry was in his coma. Like, I'm not sure that they knew about any metas or anything like that. CCPD definitely didn't know about metas or anything like that, because obviously Joe didn't believe what Barry was saying during the pilot. So it's not like metas have been around in Central City. They're more like, you know, mysterious beings and like pretty much myths going around in Central City, but they're not exactly out in the open yet. So obviously they might have to be careful because of that, but they are speedsters, so like pretty much if they just run, no one will pretty much be able to see them. It could be that maybe due to their flicker of lightning that could cause some suspicion, but again, they're just so fast, no one can see them. So you could obviously contradict what I'm saying with Bart and Nora have to be careful with that they're speedsters, so they can literally do whatever they want and no one will have a clue. That is obviously possible. We do also see that Bart and Nora are taking pictures at New Year's Eve with CCPD during the year 2014. This was obviously something we saw during episode 5's ending scene. So yeah, that is also going to be a big timeline change as well. And I'm interested to see how all of this takes place. Now, in a couple of trailers as well, like we've had the episode 6 trailer and then we've had the new interlude trailer, if you will. We had Bart and Nora wandering around CCPD a lot, and we did also have promo images adding onto that with them in CCPD as well. So it will be interesting to see how they'll be able to just waffle their way around, because like if Eddie Thawne catches them and says like, okay, what are you guys doing over here? Who are you? It will be interesting to see what Bart and Nora do. Obviously, there are probably CSIs in the future, but they can't entirely say that they're from the future, so they're going to have to make something up. Maybe they're going to say they're from Star City or something. I'm not entirely sure, but it will be interesting to see how they're going to go around it and just make everyone believe what they're saying. Now, this part is kind of worrying, but it is something I do need to mention. It's not that big, but if you're like a hardcore nitpicker, then this might be something you might possibly end up thinking. And it is something big if you are a nitpicker, but it's not really that deep, and I don't think it will matter too much. But here's where it gets confusing. Now, obviously, they're not allowed to go to the Flash Museum or Star Labs, as the case may be, in 2014, since that's where Eobard is obviously keeping Barry, and obviously that's where Caitlin Cisco will be as well. And we do see in the trailer that Bart and Nora will be using Barry's lab as their secret hideout, since they pretty much have nowhere to go. And Barry's lab will pretty much just be isolated since he was the only one there. But here's where it gets confusing. Realistically, now I know this isn't going to happen, but realistically, Eobard is meant to be in this episode because he was able to detect a presence of a speedster even when he doesn't use the same speed force as everyone else. Of course, I can't show you guys the entire clip due to copyright, but here is a chopped up version of what I'm trying to go at over here. So over here we have established that Eobard can sense time-traveling Speed Force users, or speedsters, so he is supposed to know about Bart and Nora being in a time period when they aren't supposed to. Obviously, we do know that Tom Cavanaugh will not be in that episode, but it will be interesting to see if they do ever acknowledge that, or will they just completely ignore it, because it is something that they've established before. And yes, I know writers do not normally follow these things. They just write whatever they want for the case of the episode and just hope that no one notices previous things they've established. But it is something important. I don't know if they will ever acknowledge it, but it will be interesting to see if they will or not. Now, Jay Garrick is also supposed to be returning for this episode, and I'm not entirely sure what his role will be in this episode. Maybe Bart and Nora will just screw up so much to a point where Jay Garrick notices what Bart and Nora are doing, and Jay Garrick will pretty much help Bart and Nora solve whatever's going on over here. That's the only thing I could really think of. Other than that, I literally have no clue in regards to what Jay Garrick's role will be for the episode. Now, in regards to the back half of the season with the Speedster stuff, we do know that the final graphic novel of the season will somewhat be Speedster related. We are getting Bart and Nora back for episode 15 to 16, and very likely to be more than just those episodes as well. John Wesley Shipp did say that he has some special surprise coming soon, and he did recently fly to a country. We don't know which country or city he's at, but maybe it could be that he's in Vancouver getting ready to film some Flash stuff as Jay Garrick. That is obviously possible as well. Now, one thing we already know for sure, and they've said this before, Eobard, aka the Reverse Flash, will be having a big role for the back half of the season, and we do know that he will also be returning. So we will most probably see him break out of Argus and get his speed back. But most recently, we did get some set photos for episode 15, and credit to Canada Graphs because I'm gonna show some of the set photos on the video. So if you guys want to check more of them out, be sure to check out his blog page. It will be linked in the description down below. But from these episode 15 set photos, it did tease the return of more Speedsters returning, and this was through a newspaper which Barry picks up and starts reading, which states, "Zoom and Godspeed destroy Central City." So it is possible that both ends could be having a Speedster team up, which is just insane. If this does happen, this would be absolutely nuts. It will be interesting to see how exactly they would bring Zoom back, given that he is supposed to end up becoming the Black Flash. Maybe it's an Armageddon timeline change where Zoom never becomes the Black Flash, or maybe something else happens to him. I'm not entirely sure, but Eric Wallace has expressed countless times that he's tried to bring Zoom back multiple times, but they are just trying to find ways to bring him back, and by the looks of it from that newspaper set photo, they might be doing something with Zoom, and if that is the case, then it does look like Eric Wallace is bringing Zoom back, which is obviously really sick. But whatever's going on over here is definitely taking place in the future, since Godspeed is on the loose when he's supposed to be locked up in Iron Heights. Eric Wallace did say that they were working on bringing back August Hart for an episode of The Flash Season 8. And of course, during the end of Season 7, he did end up getting defeated and locked up in Iron Heights. So something does definitely cause him to escape. What it is, I don't know. But if we do get the return of those Speedsters, I guess we will have to wait and see. We do know that Eobard Thawne will 100% be returning for the back half of the season though, so it is possible that whatever's going on with Godspeed and Zoom's return could be tied to Eobard's storyline as well. That would just be absolutely nuts. This would just be beyond what any casual fan would expect, and if this is true, we are in for a ride. Just imagine having the Flash family teaming up and facing off against those Speedster villains. That would just be nuts. I'm not saying it will happen because we don't have 100% confirmation for Zoom and Godspeed's return. This was just from a newspaper which Barry ends up reading, but it would be crazy if we did get the return of them. But we did also get a teaser to the Legion of Zoom from a comic book cover that one of the crew members were holding on set, so this could potentially hint to whatever's going on over here with the Reverse Flash, or as the case may be, if Zoom does return, maybe it is actually the Legion of Zoom, but it is actually for the main Zoom, not entirely Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash. That would be really, really interesting as well. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Be sure to tell me in the comment section down below if you guys are excited for the Flash to return. I'm interested to see all of your thoughts towards all of this as well. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.